Can I maybe ask how with this idea in mind of seeing things from the eyes of Source, from seeing that I am awareness and appreciating, and yet, it's hard to do.
Well,
and I have that thought, it's hard to do, so
it slows it down. But let us help you put a different spin on this. We really like the word realize. So you're following the conversation that we have about your vibration is out ahead of you, out ahead of the manifestation. And there is a vibrational reality that if you can strike the right vibrational relationship with it, then it will flow from vibration into reality. So in our analogy, we just want you to understand that there's a vibrational version that will then occur to you. It will be realized. So everything that you are seeing is a translation of vibration. What you see is vibrational interpretation. What you smell and hear and taste and touch, it's all vibrational interpretation. So when you get, by virtue of chilling, by virtue of meditating, by virtue of taking a walk, breathing deeply, making lists of things that you feel good about, or meditated, and you're good at that, been teaching it. So when you have quieted your mind enough that you've stopped resistance and you allow your vibration to raise, what happens is, because there's no resistance, then that broader perspective, that Source perspective, flows into your experience. But Source knowing it, Source knowing it, that's what we meant when we were teasing you about how brilliant we are. But unless you are personally realizing it, then there's no advantage to us being brilliant. Unless we can pose it to you in a way that you can realize it, you see. So the higher your frequency, which means the more you meditate, which means the less resistance, which means the less negative emotion, then the more you, and we love the word, realize, the more you allow, the more you translate into something meaningful to you. You use the word I see it. The more you translate into physical experience, that broader non-physical perspective. And the best of all worlds is when you've just tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you've just done it and doing it and doing it and done it and doing it. You practice it, you feel good, you just go from one wonderful thing to another wonderful thing, and you've convinced yourself that life is supposed to be good for you, and then you allow yourself to be a constant, or at least a steady realizer of how Source feels about this world. And when that happens, when you're there, you look at a friend and you love that friend so much, you feel like you're just going to turn inside out. Because you feel about that friend the way Source feels about that friend. You get a glimpse of someone in trouble and you don't worry about them at all, because you're seeing them in the way that Source is seeing them. You look at your planet as a whole or in general, and you just feel well-being about it because you're seeing it the way Source sees it. You're realizing Source's awareness of it, you see. You're right. You got to practice yourself into it. But it's not difficult to realize it if you're in the frequency. So the difficulty is in getting to the frequency. And the reason it feels like a difficulty to get to the frequency is because people are going about it in the wrong way. You're looking at results of manifestations. You're looking at manifestational results rather than the energy that brought them about. Esther was thinking about things we're bringing back this silly analogy, but she kept active in her vibration what she did not want, and then expects law of attraction to bring her something different. That's just silly. And isn't it a wonderful thing that law of attraction didn't defy the laws of the universe and make her the one exception? Instead, it gave her what she was offering vibrationally so that once again she could make a decision. Do I like more of this? Well, no, not really. Is this what I want? No, this isn't what I want. What do I want? I want something I have not practiced. I want something that I have not practiced vibrationally. What does that mean? Going to ask to be the exception and get it? You're not. You might ask, but you won't get it. Your mother trained you to believe that you could throw a tantrum and get what you want. But the minuscule, puny little paltry stuff that flowed through that avenue was nothing in comparison with the well-being that comes to you when you line up with this energy that creates worlds. So we agree with you. It isn't the easiest thing to do, But when you understand it, as you now do, and you know that law of attraction is giving you evidence about how you're feeling and what you've got going on vibrationally, then you can control the outcome of your experience, and you can control the way you feel. It is a glorious experience when you realize that not only do you not have to have knee-jerk reactions to things, but that you can get out ahead of everything vibrationally and then attract only the things that you want to come to you. It's a wonderful thing to realize that you have the option of how you feel about everything. And the more you care about feeling good, the more you practice those options, and the more law of attraction delivers things to you in a way that you feel good when they come.
Can we do a little bit of that now?
On what subject?
On that, getting into the vortex and getting into seeing the
well, do you accept? Let us just
source.
Ask you some questions. Do you accept that Source, Jerry, Abraham, whatever it is you want to call that non-physical all that isness, sees through your eyes? Do you believe that you are a vessel through which non-physical energy flows and sees?
Yes.
And do you think that you have to be a cooperative component in order for Source to see through your eyes? It's a trick question. Be careful.
No.
That's exactly right. So you don't have to be up to speed for Source to see through your eyes. Yeah. But you do have to be up to speed for you to realize that Source is seeing through your eyes.
Yes.
You have to be up to speed before you get that bang for your buck.
Yes.
And that's what those thrill bumps are. That's what that feeling of love that washes over you is. That's you up to speed. You in on what Source is feeling, you see. Source never demands that you get up to speed. Source just is. And you either are or you aren't. It's your decision to make, you see. So when you realize that you can do some things. We teach meditation like a lot of teachers because we know that it's easier to teach you to have no thought than to have pure positive thought. Because you've been practicing yourself into resistant on a lot of things. There's just a lot of things that you've practiced resistance
let
about.
go of the cork.
Yeah. So what meditation does, when you quiet your mind, you stop thought. When you stop thought, you stop resistance. When you stop resistance, your vibration raises, and then ideas begin to flow into your experience. And so often you begin receiving thoughts during meditation because
Yes.
you're up to speed with the thinker of those thoughts. Nice to know, isn't it?
Yes.
So this is all simpler. You wouldn't know it from all the words that we offer and all the waving around and ranting that we do. But it really is simple. You came here as Source energy to explore and to have fun. And most everybody that you know who's in human form is not having that much fun. You have a little fun, and then you have a lot of serious business. You have a little fun, and then you have a lot of responsibility. You have a little fun, and then you have a lot of telling it like it is. You have a little fun, and then you have a lot of straightening it out. You have a little fun, and then you have a lot of making the world a better place. You have a little fun, and then you have a lot of setting the example for your children so they can grow up and be good citizens. You have a little... There are just so many things that you've picked up along your physical trail, and your guidance system has been telling you every step along the way. Every time you yelled at your kids, you felt bad. Every single time. Not one time did you feel like you were in the vortex when that was going on. Not one time ever, you see. And yet you did it because you got to straighten them out, because you got to stop them from doing what they're doing. And we say, once you get a handle on this seeing the world through the eyes of Source, then you begin to discover you love people into alignment. You positively expect people into success. You love people into their well-being. You love it because you see it. But friends, you don't need to be the one that does it. Source is already doing it. Source is already doing it. Do you believe that Source is flowing that energy toward everyone?
Yes.
So if Source is flowing that toward everyone, does anybody need you? It's another trick question. They don't need you because they have personal access, but what might you do to help them to apply their personal access more? Demonstrate it up close. Love them up close, even when they don't deserve it. Love them even when it's hard. Even when you have to practice it. So you lay in bed and you practice it and you practice it and you practice it and you practice it, and then you go look at them and you go, oh! See you later. And then you go back and you practice it and you practice it and you practice it and you practice it. And then you come out and you look at them and you go, ah! And then you go back and you go to bed and you practice it and you practice it and you practice it and you practice it and you come out and you go, oh, bye. And then you go back and you practice it, you practice it and you practice and you practice until finally, you see them through the eyes of Source. And they stand there with all of their flaws, swinging your chandeliers from place to place, rubbing oil all over your furniture, and you love them anyway. You don't let them clean your house, but you love them anyway. This is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.